Dear student, welcome to next lecture of Econ 121, that is Fundamentals of Agricultural Economics. In last lecture we have already studied about the what is meant by economics, various definitions of economics, scope, subject matter of economics. So in the today's lecture we will discuss about the basic concepts in economics. So it includes the goods, services, then classification of goods, then characteristics of utility, then classification of wealth, means what is meant by wealth, what is the classification of wealth, then which are the human wants, which are the characteristics of the human wants, then classification of the human wants, and lastly we have to discuss about the equilibrium, what is meant by general equilibrium, then which are the types of the equilibrium. So these are the topics we have to study in the today's lecture. So first one is about the good. So what is meant by good? Means good is nothing but it is just anything, any commodity, anything that satisfy human wants is called as good. So the goods are tangible and material outcome of production. Goods are tangible means they are transferable and they are the material outcome of production process. So example of good, as we eat the food, that food grains, oil seed, pulses, machinery, implements, seeds, fertilizer, pen, book, bench, fan, all the goods, all these are the example of goods. Now as we know, what is meant by service? On the other hand, good and service. So what is meant by service? So service is an act. Service is an act or performance that one party can offer to another party. Suppose in case of teacher and student. So teacher is one party, student is another party. So what is the service? So when that service means when that teacher teaches to the student, that is a service. So that teacher is doing act or he is performing. So he is offering that his performance or act to the student, that is the service. So essentially service is intangible, does not result in ownership of anything. Means that student they does not have a ownership on the teacher, but they can utilize the service of teacher. As like another example, doctors they are rendering their service in the hospitals, but that customers or but that patients they don't have a ownership on the doctor. We can purchase their service only. Okay, so example, services rendered by the doctor, teacher, lawyer, engineer, laborers are the some example of services. Then next is classification of goods. So these goods are classified based on the first one, based on the supply, then based on the transferability, then based on the consumption, and last classification of goods based on the durability. Means based on these four bases, supply, transferability and consumption, goods are classified. So first one we will discuss about the classification of goods based on supply. So basically based on supply, goods are classified as economic good and free good. Economic goods and free good. So which are the economic good and which are the free good? Firstly I will discuss about the free goods. So free goods are those goods which are the free gift of nature, which are the free gift of nature. So on the other hand, what will be economic good? The economic goods are those goods which are produced through human efforts and we have to pay some price to purchase that goods. Means those goods which are man made and we have to purchase it by paying some amount or some price, that is a economic good. Now free good, in case of free good, supply is more than demand and everyone can get in the extent they need. Means the supply of free good is unlimited, you can get in a unlimited quantity. But in case of the economic good, supply is less than demand. In case of free good, supply is more than demand, and in case of economic good, supply is less than demand. So now major distinguish or major difference between economic and free good is that economic good having both value in use as well as value in exchange. So economic goods like furniture, anything we can exchange. We can exchange. We cannot exchange the free good. We cannot exchange the free good. Suppose the rainfall, sunshine, air, we cannot exchange it. So economic goods have both value in use and value in exchange. On the other hand, for the free good, there is only value in use. So example of economic good, these are the daily day-to-day life examples are there: pen, pencil, book, furniture, okay, machinery. These are the economic goods. And free good, air, rainfall, sunshine, these are the free gift of nature, so they are the free good. Now there are two examples which are the exceptions. Means in that first one is water. First example is water and second example is sand. So water is both, it is economic good as well as free good. Means that water at the river side or at the sources of water, it is become free good, and in the water scarcity area, means where water is limited, it becomes economic good. Same thing applies to sand. Sand nearby rivers or sand in the river beds, it is a free good. Sand in the river beds, it is a free good, but that same sand at the point of construction, it become a economic good. So this is all about the classification of good based on supply, that is economic good, free good. The next is classification of goods based on transferability. It is this classification of goods based on transferability. It was given by Alfred Marshall. It was given by Alfred Marshall. So based on transferability, majorly these goods are classified as external goods and internal goods. They are classified as the external goods and internal goods. Those goods which are the parts of human body which are the internal, they are the internal goods. Those goods which are external, they are the external goods. Now again, these external goods, they are classified as material and personal. External goods again classified as material and personal. And if we think about the material goods, again they are classified as the material transferable good and material non transferable goods. Means based on transferability, goods are classified as external, internal, then material, personal, and in material again they are classified as the transferable, non transferable. So external material transferable goods are land, building, furniture. Means we can transfer them, we can transfer their ownership. That is the material transferable good. Means land, building, furniture, pen, book, fan, table, these are the transferable. Now which are the material but non transferable? Suppose your Aadhaar card, ration card, then PAN card, these are the material but non transferable. In that another example is degree certificate, your driving license, your mark sheet, it is not transferable. It is not transferable. So these are the example of material non transferable goods. Then personal and transferable good. Here is the unique example of personal and transferable good. So many times in the MCQs or in the objective type of questions, they ask the which of the following is external personal. It is external personal but transferable good. So example is goodwill of business. So goodwill of business is the external personal but transferable good. Now we will think about the internal. All the internal goods are the non-transferable. All the internal goods are the non-transferable. So in that we take the example of the non-transferable good like personal qualities of human being, ability, skill, intelligence. They are the internal non-transferable. Now in case of external, the external and non-transferable, external and non-transferable means external personal but non-transferable. Example is friendship, courage, or any relationship. We cannot share or we cannot transfer the friendship with another one. We cannot share the or we cannot transfer the relationship with another. So example of external personal and non-transferable good, that is the friendship, courage, or relationship. So this is all about the classification of goods based on transferability, which was given by Alfred Marshall. And in that, most important is external personal transferable good, that is the goodwill of business. Then next, classification of goods based on consumption. So based on consumption, goods are classified as consumer goods and producer goods. Consumer goods and producers good. Consumer good means from the consumption point of view, and producers good means from the production point of view. So the consumer goods, those goods from which that consumer derives direct satisfaction. Which are the consumer good? The good from which consumer derives the direct satisfaction. For example, food items, food, then cloth, pen, book, pencil. These are the consumer good. Mean by utilizing those goods, we get the direct satisfaction. So consumer goods are also known as the goods of first order. Consumer goods are also known as the goods of first order in a view of their ability to give the direct satisfaction. Why consumer goods are known as the goods of first order? Because of their ability to give the direct satisfaction. Example of consumer good: food, cosmetic, clothes, book, pen, etc. So there are so many examples of consumer good. Now on the other hand, producer good means those goods which help in the production process of other goods. Which are the producer good? Those goods which helps in the production process of other goods, that is the producer's good. And producer goods are also known as the goods of second order. They are also known as the goods of second order. So they can be used by the consumer or producer both, because it depends on the how the good is used. Means the use of producer good is depend on their usage. So producers good give the indirect satisfaction to the consumer. They give the indirect satisfaction to the consumer. That's why they are known as the goods of second order. Example of producer good: we require the machinery for the production of any goods. We require the raw material for the production of any product, and factory building. These are the producers good. Now here also some exceptions, that is the if we think about the electricity, when we use that particular electricity in the home or in the household, that is it becomes the consumer good. We get direct satisfaction from the electricity, that is the consumer good. And same electricity when we use it in the industry, industry for the production of other products, it becomes producer's good. It becomes producer's good. So this is about the classification of goods based on consumption, that is consumer good, direct satisfaction, goods of first order, on the other hand producer's good, indirect satisfaction, goods of second order. Then next is classification of goods based on durability. So as we know, some goods are the monoperiod goods, monoperiod and polyperiod. So when we use any commodity for only once, or you can utilize that commodity for only once, that is the monoperiod. Mono means single. So those goods which are used only once to satisfy a particular need of that consumer is known as the monoperiod. So they cease to exist once their use was over. Means once we utilize it, they get finished. Okay. So all the food items, productive resources like seeds, fertilizers, means we can apply that seeds only one. We can apply that fertilizer only once. That is the monoperiod good. On the other hand, polyperiod, those goods which are used in a time and again, means those goods which we can use for several time or for so many time. The example of those goods, machinery, implements, farm building, means we can utilize it for so many time. So they are considered as the polyperiod goods. So this is about the based on durability, monoperiod and polyperiod. Now this is all about the good. Now next concept is utility. So what is utility? Utility is not means direct satisfaction. Utility is not synonymous with the usefulness. So but utility is nothing but it is just a capacity of that good to satisfy a human want. What is utility? It is the capacity of that good to satisfy human want. Suppose I am a thirsty. So if I will drink the water, so utility means the capacity of that water to give me satisfaction. What is utility? It is the capacity of that commodity to give the satisfaction, or that satisfy the human want. So utility is the want satisfying power of good. Question may be asked for fill in the blanks. Dash dash is the want satisfying power of good. So utility is the want satisfying power of good. Now kinds or the types of utility. Basically utility is classified into the four types or four kinds. First one is the form utility, second place utility, third time utility, and fourth one is the possession utility. Now we have to study or we have to know about the which function creates the form utility, which function is responsible for place utility, which function responsible for time utility, and which function is responsible for possession utility. So first one is the form utility. Form means the by changing the form of good, greater utility is created. So first one is the form utility, means when we change the form of particular good, the greater utility is created. For example, cotton into the cloth. So what we do here? We just change the form of cotton into the cloth. So cloth having the higher utility than the cotton. So that is the form utility. So it does not mean that before the change of form that good having the no utility. It does not mean that. So form utility means by changing the form of one good, we can create the higher utility or greater utility. So it means that change in the form offers greater utility to the good. For example, processing of paddy into rice, wheat into flour, coffee seeds into coffee powder, butter into ghee, cotton into the cloth. So the goods or commodities which assumes new form thus will have the certainly high utility and high value. Means when we change the form of one good into the another good. Another common example is we transfer the raw material into the product. If we compare the price of the raw material and product, the obviously product will have a higher price. That is the creation of higher utility by changing the form. Then next is the place utility. Next one is the place utility. So utility of that commodity is depends upon the position in an area. By virtue of its position, the commodity will have a different utilities. Commodity will have a different utility. So such utility is called as place utility. So as we know, the production of apples, it is in the Himachal Pradesh. The utility of apples in the Himachal Pradesh and utility of apple into the Maharashtra, it is different. The place utility, it is caused by the marketing function, that is the transportation. Because of transportation, we can able to eat the apples from Himachal Pradesh. So value of apples into the Himachal Pradesh is different and value of apple into the Maharashtra is different. Okay, so that is the place utility. So such utility is called a place utility. Now spatial movement of the goods. What is spatial movement? Means movement of the goods from one place to another place or from point of production to the point of consumption, means from the farmer's field to the market. It creates the place utility for that particular good. As we know, mostly agricultural goods, they are transferred or they are transformed from they are transported from point of production to the point of consumption, and it creates the place utility. Okay, so for scarce commodities in two different places, depending upon the demand and supply, utilities vary. Means the places where the scarcity of commodity, for that commodity will have a higher demand. Similarly, at the production centers, consumption center, utilities change for different commodities. Means at the point of production, utility will be low. At the point of consumption, utility will be high. So production does not necessarily mean conversion of raw material into the products. It also implies or it also consists of the place utility, since goods are made available in the areas of scarcity. Means we have to transport those goods from the production point to the consumption point. So this is all about the place utility, which is caused or which is developed by the transportation function. The next, time utility. Next is time utility. As we know, most of the agricultural products, they are seasonal. We eat after harvest and we eat after some time. Before that, what we do? We store them. We store them into the godowns, into our home, into the fridge also. Some vegetables, some fruits, we store them into the fridge and we use it or we utilize it after some time. So time utility means any time lag between production and consumption of commodity creates the time utility. What is time lag? Or any time difference or time interval between the production and consumption of commodities, it creates the time utility. So through storage over a time, greater utility is created for the product. So storage helps to create the time utility. Okay, now as we know, agricultural production, they are the seasonal. with the consumption spreading throughout the year, the commodities need to made available to the consumer as when they required. Means we produce the wheat into the Rabi season, but we use it or we utilize it throughout the year. We utilize it throughout the year. On the other hand, we produce the jawar into the kharif season and we used to eat it throughout the year. It is only because of storage function. So storage function creates the time utility. Okay, so this is about the time utility. The next or last, that is the possession utility. Possession means ownership. Possession means ownership. So those commodities which are in the transaction process, those commodities which are in the transaction process or in the marketing process. What is marketing process? Exchange. That is the exchange by buying and selling. Means we pay some amount or we purchase that commodity, means we change the ownership. So change the hands from one person to another person, that is the possession utility. Okay, so commodities in the hands of producer have some utility, and by the time they reach to the consumer through the traders, their utility is increased. Suppose I am a processor or I am a producer. I am producing the goods. The utility of that goods to me is different, and utility of that good to the consumer is different. So such utility is due to the possession or transfer of ownership of the commodity is called as possession utility, and possession utility is created by function buying and selling. So for example, paddy in the hands of farmer and paddy into the hands of household wife, or that rice into the hands of the household peoples, that is the possession utility. Now similarly, the other commodities like fruits, vegetable, livestock products would have a higher utility when these goods change the hands from the farmer to the consumer. So such a rise in utility of commodities due to possession is called as possession utility. Okay, so this is about the kinds or the types of utilities. Okay, now next, characteristics of utility. Now, which are the characteristics of utility? So first characteristics, utility is subjective. As earlier I told you, utility is not mean by satisfaction itself. Utility is not means satisfaction. It is subjective to the interest of individual. Means it depends on the individual's choice, individual's preferences or individual's frame of mind. So utility is subjective. It varies from person to person because the choices of every person are different. So utility varies from person to person. That's why utility is subjective. Hence, a given commodity need not to bring same utility to all consumer. Suppose there is a one bottle of cold drink. It will not yield same utility to everyone because some people will does not like it, some people will like it. That's why the utility of that cold drink bottle is different for everyone. So utility is subjective. So for they have given the example of non-vegetarian food to the vegetarian people. So they will not eat. If they eat, it will not give them pleasure or it will not give them satisfaction. So this is about the utility is subjective. Then next is the utility varies with purpose. So depending upon the purpose for which commodity is used, utility of the same commodity varies. Now I will take the example of water. Now I am thirsty. I will drink the water I will get the utility, I will get the satisfaction. But when same water is applied to the field of agriculture, it is applied for or it is used for the irrigation purpose, that water have different utility. Then again same water it will be used in the industry, it will have different utility. Means same commodity having a different utilities, it depends on for which purpose you are utilizing or you are using that particular commodity. So for example, utility derived from water, they have given the same example here. So this is about the utility varies with purpose, this is the second characteristics. Then third, utility varies with time. So a particular commodity gives different utilities for the same person in a different period. Means a particular commodity, suppose I will take the example of cold drink. So cold drink gives more satisfaction to same person into the summer season, but it does not give same satisfaction into the cold season, or into the winter season. So utility varies with time also. Then next, utility varies with ownership. So ownership of good creates far greater utility from a good than it is when used or hired. Now for the farmer, land ownership brings higher utility over leasing in the land. Similarly, owning a farm machinery offers greater utility than hiring from the other farmer. Suppose I am a farmer, if I own the tractor by myself, if I purchase the tractor and I use that tractor for the cultivation or for my farm operation, so I will have a higher utility for that tractor rather than I hired the tractor from other farmers, I borrow the tractor from other farmers for 1 hour, for 2 hour, for particular operation, it will not have that much utility. So utility varies with ownership also. Means when we utilize our own things, it have a higher utility than the things on rent, things which are taken on hired basis. Then next, utility need not be synonym with the pleasure. Means utility is not synonym with the pleasure. So utility derived from the commodity need not be associated always with the pleasure of the consumer. Means always that utility of commodity does not yield pleasure, happiness, joyness to that particular consumer. For example, if we give the bitter medicines to the sick person, that medicines have greater utility, but it does not give joy or it does not give pleasure to that consumer. Okay, so utility need not be synonymous with the pleasure. The next, utility does not mean satisfaction. Very first I told you, utility is not the satisfaction by itself, because utility is the quality of good. Utility is the quality of good by virtue of which it gives satisfaction to individual. So directly utility does not mean satisfaction, but it is the virtue or it is the way from which consumer will get satisfied, or it is the quality of that good to yield or to give satisfaction to consumer. So the question of obtaining satisfaction from good depends on the consumer choice for the same. Now suppose the one good that will give me the different utility, that same good will give the different utility to another person. So means utility does not mean satisfaction. So then this is about the utility. Then our next basic concept is the value. Now what is meant by value? What is mean by value? So value is nothing but it is just capacity of good to command other things in exchange. What is value? It is the capacity of good to command other things in exchange, or value is the rate of exchangeability. Value is the rate of exchangeability. Now, in reality, value can be used as value in use as well as value in exchange. So, as we know, for the free goods, there is value in use only. Free goods, they does not have value in exchange. So, finally, free goods, they does not possess value. So, economic goods have a both means value in use as well as value in exchange, but economics always the term but in economics always the term value means value in exchange. Means in economics we consider value means value in exchange. Okay, can we exchange the air with air? Can we exchange rainfall with rainfall, rainfall with other commodities? No, we cannot exchange. But we can exchange one thing or one commodity, one economic good with another economic good. So that goods having the value. So simply keep in mind, value means it is the capacity of good to command other things in a exchange. Okay. Now, which are the attributes? Which are the attributes of value? Means how to decide the value, or which are the characteristics of value. So that good must possess utility. Suppose we have to give the value of to particular good. If that good does not have a utility, that good does not have a capacity to satisfy human want, will you give value to them? No, we will not give the value to them. So that good must have a utility, then only we will give the value. So this is the first attribute. Second, good must be scarce. Good must be scarce means that good must be in limited quantity. That good must be available in limited quantity. Now, in case of free good, they are available in unlimited quantity. Will you give the value to free good? No. We will not give the value to free good because they are available in abundant quantity or in unlimited quantity. So second attribute is good must be scarce. So we will give them value. Now third, good must be transferable or marketable. Suppose some good is fixed at one place. Can we purchase it? Can we give value to that? No. We will not give the value. It must be transferable. At least their ownership must be transferable. So these are the three attributes of good. That is, good must possess utility, good must be scarce, and good must be transferable or marketable. So these are the three attributes. Based on these we give the value to the commodity. Now next concept is the price. So when the value of good is expressed in terms of money is called price. Question may be asked for fill in the blanks. Dash dash is the price. Sorry, when the value of good expressed in terms of money is called price. So price expresses value in terms of money. Means when we express the value of any commodity in terms of money, in terms of rupees, that is the price. Now next concept is wealth. Now this is also most important concept. Wealth means as we know, in the ordinary life or in the general life, we consider wealth means rich, wealthy person. We use it synonymously, or we use it as the rich person, or we attach that wealth or that wealth word with the richness. So wealthy man is one who is blessed with the riches, but in the economics the term wealth conveys a different meaning. Means in the economics wealth have different meaning. So in the economics, anything which has a value is known as wealth. In terms of economics, what is wealth? Anything which has value. Anything which has value is known as wealth. So when one says value, only economic goods possess the value. So what is wealth? Only economic goods, they are having the value in exchange, so they are considered as the wealth. So consequently, economic goods represents the wealth. Wealth consists of all potential exchangeable means of satisfying human wants, and this is a definition given by the J.M. Keynes. So according to J.M. Keynes, what is wealth? Wealth consists of all potentially exchangeable means of satisfying human wants. Means those goods which can be exchangeable and which are the means or which are the sources of satisfying human wants, they are known as the wealth. This definition is given by the J.M. Keynes, and J.M. Keynes is considered as father of modern economics. Now, as we have seen the attributes of value, similarly here are the characteristics of wealth. So first one, wealth should possess utility. Second, wealth must be scarce. Third, wealth must be transferable. And last one, wealth must be external to person. So these are the qualities or these are the characteristics of wealth. Now next, types of wealth. Next one is the types of wealth. Basically there are the 5 types of wealth. First one, individual wealth, or we can say personal wealth. Second, social wealth, the wealth which is owned by the society, that is the social wealth. National wealth, wealth which is owned by the nation, whole nation, national wealth. Fourth one is cosmopolitan wealth, means the wealth which is belong to world, that is the cosmopolitan wealth. And last one is the negative wealth. Now we will discuss one by one. First one is individual wealth. So individual wealth consists of all tangible and intangible possessions of the individuals besides loan due to them. Means irrespective of loan, all the property owned by the individual, tangible and intangible possession of the individual is considered as individual wealth. So it may consist of the land, building, vehicle, share, bond, deposit, commodities, sale, commodities for sale, suppose, then cash, etc. are the tangible possession, means they are the transferable, and intangible means those are the non-material external goods. Non-material external good, for the example, goodwill of business, it is also considered as the individual wealth. Copyright, patent are the intangible possessions which are considered as the individual wealth. So from the total value of all these possessions, loan owned to others are to be deducted and to arrive at the individual wealth. So by deducting the loan, whatever owned by that particular person, it may be tangible and intangible, is considered as the individual wealth or the personal wealth. Now next, social wealth. Next is social wealth. So it is a wealth which is collectively used by all the people in the nation, or the wealth which is collectively used by the society into the nation. So hence it is also termed as collective wealth or communal wealth. Social wealth is also termed as or is also known as the collective wealth or the communal wealth. So common properties of the community like road, railway, public park, public libraries, then government hospitals, government colleges, they are the social wealth. Now another common example of social wealth means the wealth which is man-made. The wealth which is man-made and utilized by the society is known as social wealth. Example, dam, water dams. Most of time they ask the question on the water dam, means Uzni water dam is the dash dash type of wealth. Don't get confused between social wealth and national wealth. National wealth means the wealth which is the free gift of nature and which is belong to that particular nation, that is the national wealth. And social wealth means the wealth which is a man made and which is used by or utilized by the community or society, that is the social wealth. Okay, now next is national wealth. National wealth is the aggregate means overall, aggregate of all the individual or summation of all the individual wealth and collective wealth of country. National wealth means it is the collection of all the wealth of all the individual from that particular country. So to this amount, the loan due to the people, loan due to the government from the foreign countries should be added, or should be added means here we have to add that loan also. From this amount to arrive at the debt that the people and the government own to the foreign countries should be deducted, means there are some debts, there are some loan amount that particular country has borrowed from other countries, that we have to deduct. Now economists like Marshall feel the inclusion of free gift of nature like mountains, rivers, etc. into the national wealth. Now question arises here, the rivers, either they are social wealth or national wealth. So don't get confused, rivers, mountains, some forest belong to territory of that particular nation, they are the national wealth because they are the free gift of nature. Okay, so this is about the social and national wealth. Now next is cosmopolitan wealth. Now here the wealth which is belong to world, the wealth which is belong to world but not belongs to any particular country, means the ownership not belong to any particular country, that is the cosmopolitan wealth. The wealth which is belong to world but ownership does not to particular country, that is the cosmopolitan wealth. For example, some rivers, big rivers like Nile, Amazon, they are the cosmopolitan wealth because particular country does not have a ownership on such big rivers. Another example, oceans, some forest. Then so this is about the cosmopolitan wealth, or we can say it is the sum total wealth of the all nation. The next is negative wealth, most important. So negative wealth, it is the exclusive debt, means exclusive loan owned by the individuals and the nation. What is negative wealth? It is the exclusive or overall loan or debt owned by the individuals and owned by the nation. So if something is hazardous or nuisance to us or to the human being, to the animals, it will be says as the negative wealth. For example, wild pigs, stray dogs, then stray chattels damaging the crops, it may be regarded as negative wealth, means there are some factors which are causing damage to human being, they are also considered as the negative wealth. Or there are some substances which are hazardous to us or which are hazardous to animals also. For example, the byproducts of the industries, they are considered as the negative wealth. So this is all about the wealth or classification of wealth. Now next, that is the wants. What is meant by human want? So economic activity of human want, or economic activity of humans, it is directed towards the satisfaction of their wants. As we learn in the first lecture, that is in the subject matter of economics, first one is the primitive view, in that we have learned about the economic activity. So target of every economic activity is to get satisfaction, is to get satisfaction or is to complete the human wants, is to complete the human want. So the fulfillment of human want generally is considered as the goal of economic activity. So wants of different sections of the people in the society, that is the wage earners, then salary, salary taking classes, businessmen, political leaders, it may vary. Means wants of every person, it may vary. It may vary from person to person. Okay. Now characteristics of human wants. So as we know, human wants are unlimited. Wants are continuously cropping, means they are coming up in our mind of the humans. Then if one want is satisfied, immediately another want will come in our mind. Then they go on multiplying, means they go on coming in our mind. That's why human wants are unlimited. So there is no end to the human wants, hence human wants are unlimited. The next is human wants are recur. Human wants are recur, means they are repeating. So if one want is satisfied at the point of time, the same want again repeat into the future. If one want is satisfied at a point of time, the same want again repeats into the future. For example, suppose I am hungry now. If I eat, I satisfy my want. The same want will be repeat into the night, or into the after some time. That is the wants are recur. So wants like hunger, recreation, etc. need to be satisfied time and again because of their recurrence. Because of their recurrence means the particular want, it can be repeated. Okay. The next, a given want is satiable or a given want is satisfiable. So through a human wants are unlimited, a given want at a particular time is completely satisfied. Means a given want at a particular point of time can be completely satisfied. For example, if a man who is a thirsty, if we give them a adequate potable water, or adequate means sufficient amount of drinking water, that want at that particular time can be satisfied. So a given want is a satisfiable. Then wants are complementary. Wants are complementary. Complementary means we require them into the pairs, into the pairs. So goods are required in pairs or groups to satisfy a human want. Suppose I am hungry. Shall I satisfied with only one food item? No. I required in a pairs or in a groups. For example, butter, bread and butter, tractor and driver, fertilizer and irrigation, then pen and paper. So this is about the wants are complementary. Means we required them into the groups or into the pairs. Next is wants are competitive. So human wants are unlimited, but means to satisfy them are limited, or sources sources to satisfy human wants are limited. So human wants, they compete among themselves, hence given the preferences. Means in our mind that human wants, they are compete with each other to give them preferences. So this compels the consumer to choose the most urgent want first and to choose the least urgent want after some time. So as we know, suppose I have a limited amount of money. I have a limited amount of money. I have to purchase the bike as well as car, or I have to purchase the bike as well as car. So I have a limited amount of money. I require both. I want both car and bike also. But what is most urgent? I will purchase the bike because of limited amount of sources or limited amount of money. So wants, they are competitive, or they compete for the giving the preference. So I will give the first preference to bike, then after some time I will give the another preference or second preference to the car. Okay, so wants are the competitive. The next, wants have alternative means wants have alternative sources to satisfy them. So this is a more than one way of satisfying a particular want. Okay, so a given want can be satisfied with alternative goods. As we know, there are so many things or so many sources that can satisfy a particular want. Suppose if a man is thirsty, suppose I am a thirsty, I can be satisfied with drinking water, or with cold drink also, or with coconut water also. So these are the substitutes. So wants have a alternative means to satisfy them. So this is about the characteristics of wants. Now at the end, we have to discuss the classification of wants. So basically, human wants, they are classified as necessaries, comforts and luxuries. How they are classified? They are classified as the necessaries, comforts and luxuries. Now necessaries are those wants which must be satisfied, which must be satisfied. The goods which are used to satisfy basic needs of humans are called necessaries. As we know, what is our basic need? Food, cloth, water, shelter. These are the basic needs. So they are the necessaries. Now comforts. Comforts are those which fall between necessaries and luxurious. What is comforts? They are fall between, or they stand between necessaries and luxurious. So man is not satisfied with fulfilling necessary only. Means we do not get satisfied with the necessaries only. We required some comfort to increase our efficiency. Suppose benches for the students, benches for the students, then cushion chair in the classroom. Okay, so then fan into the house or office. These are the example of comforts. Comforts means those goods which required to increase the efficiency. To increase the efficiency, that is the comforts. The next is luxuries. So luxuries are those which satisfy superfluous, which satisfy extraordinary or superfluous wants of individuals, or superfluous wants of human being. These are neither essential nor increase the efficiency. Means the luxurious good, they are neither essential or neither they increase the efficiency of particular human. So luxuries represents wasteful expenditure of the individual. Now again, these necessaries are classified, then comforts also classified, and luxuries also again classified. We will discuss like this. So here necessaries, comforts and luxurious. So first one is necessaries. They are classified as necessaries of existence, means those necessaries which are required for the living, for living only. For example, food, water, cloth and shelter. The next is necessaries of efficiency. So not as essential as the necessaries of existence, but they are required in improving the efficiency of individual. So examples are nutritional diet, or means good diet for the human, table and chair to the student, classroom with good ventilation or fan facility. So these are the necessaries of efficiency. Then last one, conventional necessaries. Means suppose we belong to particular community, we have to follow some traditions, we have to follow some rules and regulations, we have to wear particular kind of clothes, that is the conventional necessary. So example of conventional necessary arises out of custom or habits of human being. So example, customs like celebration of function into the particular community, habits like smoking, drinking, gambling. So these are the conventional necessaries. Now next is comfort. So man is not satisfied with fulfilling necessaries only, so he required the comforts. So example, cushion chair in the classroom, revolving chair into the saloon, fan into the house and offices. So don't get confused between comforts and necessaries of efficiency. So necessaries means they are required, comfort to increase the efficiency only. Now last is luxuries, which is a wasteful expenditure of human. It is also again classified into the harmless luxuries, which are the harmless means from which we didn't get harm, then harmful luxuries, and last one is the defense luxuries. Last one is the defense luxuries. So harmless luxuries like the expenditure on which will not cause any harm to the individual. So example, well furnished bungalow, then expensive food habits, they are the harmless, they are the harmless luxuries. Now which will be the harmful luxuries? So the luxuries which are the injurious to health, they are the harmful luxuries, like habit of alcohol, smoking. So these are the harmful luxuries. Now the defense luxuries. Defense luxuries means not the gun. It is about the economic defense. It is about the economic defense, or it is about the protect the user during the period of economic crisis. That is the defense luxuries. So as we know, some women, they keep or they store the gold, it is considered as the defense luxuries. So expenditure on gold, ornaments and jewelry, it is considered as the defense luxury. So this is all about the classification of human wants. Now in a reality, necessaries, comforts and luxuries are the interchangeable. Means as our income changes, our necessaries, we come out of the necessary, we think about the comfort. Again our income changes, we come out of comfort, we think about the luxuries. So air travel, very good example of this is air travel. So this is about the classification of wants. Now last concept, which is about the equilibrium. What is the equilibrium? Equilibrium that indicates the ideal condition. What is equilibrium? The ideal condition, or the term equilibrium indicates an ideal condition or when complete adjustment has been made to the change into the economic situation. So there is no intensive for any more change. So what is equilibrium? Equilibrium means a state of balance. The state of balance or that ideal condition is known as the equilibrium. So when the forces acting in the opposite direction are exactly equal, the object on which they are acting is said to be in the state of equilibrium. So then in other words, equilibrium also refers to and state when a situation is ideal or optimum, so that no advantage can be obtained by making a change. So this is about the equilibrium. So just keep in mind, equilibrium means state of balance, or the equilibrium means equilibrium indicates an ideal conditions. Okay, the next types of equilibrium. So equilibrium having the types, that is the stable equilibrium, unstable equilibrium, neutral equilibrium, short term equilibrium, then long term equilibrium, then partial equilibrium and complete equilibrium or general equilibrium. We will discuss one by one. First one is stable equilibrium. As we know, equilibrium means the state of balance or ideal conditions. So stable equilibrium means there is said to be a stable equilibrium when the object on which forces are acting after having been disturbed tends to resume its origin position. Means that particular object become a stable. If someone makes the changes in that, then also it resumes to its origin position, that is the stable equilibrium. The next is unstable equilibrium, but when a slight disturbance evokes or emerges out further disturbance so that the original position is never restored, it is a case of unstable equilibrium. So because of emergence of another disturbance, if the original position is disturbed, then it is said as the unstable equilibrium. Then neutral equilibrium. So on the other hand, when the disturbing forces neither bring it to back to the original position nor they drive it further away, it is called the neutral equilibrium. Means that disturbance does not affect the original position of that particular commodity, of that particular object, is known as the neutral equilibrium. And in economic analysis, stable equilibrium is most commonly used. Okay, the next is short term equilibrium. So in the case of short term equilibrium, economic forces do not get sufficient time to bring about complete adjustment. Means some economic forces, they didn't get the enough time or sufficient time to make the changes in that particular object. So for example, supply is adjusted to the change in demand with the existing means of production, for there is no time to increase them or decrease them. That is about the short term equilibrium, which is related to the very short period, means which does not give chance to make changes. The next, long term equilibrium. So however, in the case of long term equilibrium, there is a ample time to change, that is either increase or decrease, even the means of production or the resources are available. Means when that economic forces, they get the sufficient time to make changes, then such equilibrium is known as the long term equilibrium. The next is partial equilibrium. So a partial equilibrium relates to the single individual. What is partial equilibrium? When that particular state of balance is related to single individual. It may be single consumer, single producer, or single firm, or single industry, is known as the partial equilibrium. So a producer is said to be into the equilibrium when he is able to maximize his aggregate net profit in the condition in which he is working. Then a firm is said to be in the equilibrium when he has attained optimum size, which is ideal from the point of view for making the profit and for utilizing the available resources. That is the equilibrium firm. The next is the general equilibrium. So such an equilibrium is not concerned with the single variable or single commodity or with a single individual, but with the multiplicity of variable. Means the equilibrium which is related to the overall the variables or all the variables is known as the general equilibrium. So particular equilibrium or partial equilibrium covers the single organization in the economic system, whereas in the general equilibrium all the organization working in the economy are affected or are comes under the general equilibrium. So general equilibrium is the equilibrium of entire economy as a whole. Equilibrium of entire economy as a whole, that is the general equilibrium. So this is all about the basic concepts in economics. You can refer the book Agricultural Economics by Subba Reddy and another book Elementary Economic Theory by K.K. Dewett. Thank you.